Hey y'all, clearly having technical difficulties, but as soon as my camera, there we go, gets back in focus, we'll be good to go. Let me turn down the music. Was that like a good level for y'all? The couple people that are in here? Should it be louder? Should it be quieter next time? Let me know. Time to eat indeed. I hope you have your food with you so you can share this meal with me. Thank you, thank you. I will definitely take my time. Meals should not be rushed, right? And neither should streams. How are y'all doing though? How was your day? Thank you for joining. It's so good to see you. Or I guess be here with you. Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Is it good now? It's probably too low for you to even hear it, but that's okay. Because we need to talk now. We're here now. We're together. Yeah, I'll do that. You can bring it on. It's okay. We'll work this out. I don't feel like I should have to do this, you know,
Here you go.
every 5 seconds. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, y'all, welcome to Brit Eats, my first live stream. I'm really excited to be doing this. We are together as a family. Yes, chosen family indeed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be here because it is a choice. I hope no one felt forced because you should be here of your own volition. You should be here because you want to be here. And I thank you for being here again. But tonight I'm going to be having some mole, some chicken mole. It originally was drumsticks. All of the meat kind of fell off the bone in the cook. But I'm really excited about it. It's one of my favorite dishes. The first time I ever had it, I was just over the moon about it. I had to perfect my recipe. And I think probably after like 3 or 4 tries, I got there. And I get as authentic as I can. I use the Doña Maria sauce, and then I just spice it up from there. It's in the little glass jars that you see. But if anybody has the hookup for, the one that's in the bag, please let me know because I want it. I will pay you for it. Please and thank you. But with that, I have some corn tortillas, aubrey, some refried beans, and some yellow rice. Not exactly Mexican rice. Didn't really have the time to put that together, but still some pretty good rice, if I do say so myself. So first of all, let's eat. And second, let me check in on the chat, see how y'all are doing. Hey, welcome. Hey, Ani. Hey, Jayla. It's a happy choice. Thank you. I'm glad it's a happy choice. I don't know what the issue is with that. We'll reflect on this. We'll revisit this. Every stream is gonna have its difficulties, and I appreciate y'all for bearing through it with me. But yeah, support and care is the title of this one. Wow. Why y'all didn't tell me? Why y'all didn't tell me that you couldn't see me yet? You totally were supposed to, but that's okay. But yeah, I'll go over this again so you can actually see my meal as I present it to you. This is my mole once again. But yeah, the chicken falling off the bone, as you can see. You'll see it more as I actually pick it up. But yeah, the yellow rice that I was referring to that you could not see before, the refried beans, the corn tortillas, it's all here. But yes. What else? Yeah, support and care. Back to the topic at hand. I wanted to talk about support and care because, thanks. Yeah, it feels good to be here with y'all. That's why I'm smiling. But I wanted to talk about support and care because it is a major holiday season and, not everybody always has the best proper, support and care to get through it. And that makes it a lot harder to do so. It's really hard if you're, for example, estranged from family or haven't exactly found your chosen family yet. And, the days are shorter and thus less sunlight and it's a lot colder. And when you don't have that connection, when you don't have that warmth, especially, a lot of us still being in isolation with COVID still very much going on and, new variants on the rise, I know we're all kind of gearing for a repeat of the things that have come before. So to try to break that cycle in at least one way, I do want to invite us to have a conversation around support and care and what that looks like. Going back to just being estranged from family or even friends, any type of relationship that you just had to disconnect from. I've definitely had to let go of people because they wanted what was best for me, right? But they didn't know what that was. And in that, I also had to think about, the times where I fell short of caring for others and supporting them and just being there for them in a whole and complete way, in the way that I would normally love to be there for somebody. And of course, that's not, black and white either. There are complexities in that. No one can be there for everyone all the time. It's just not realistic. But I definitely know there were spots, and, you know, still continue to be spots where I'm not as supportive as I'd like to be. And so in thinking about this, I really want to say, you know, some people shouldn't have your support. And I mean that twofold. I mean that as far as you, and I mean that as far as the other people. Sometimes your support isn't always what's best. You know, sometimes you don't have the range yet to know how to help someone. And as much as you want to be there for them, as much as you want to, you know, help them, you just don't have the range. And that's okay. It's okay to admit that. It's okay. And, you know, I feel like more people, it's so good. More people than not would appreciate hearing, you know, I do want to be here for you. I don't know if I know the best way to do so. But I do want to be here for you. And that in itself is such a key aspect to being there for somebody, to supporting somebody, being honest with them and listening to them, because in that you give them the opportunity to say, you know what, these are the best ways that I can be supported right now, and this is the kind of support that I need right now. I was gonna try to talk again, but oh my god, it's so good. I need to eat. It is definitely a hard thing to learn and practice. Y'all, that's so good. Oh, by the way, I didn't follow a particular recipe. I kind of like combined a few things. And whenever I use sauces, I basically just add a bunch more of whatever's on the back of the sauce. So definitely do that. But later in the description, I'll add as much as I can. But yeah. Thank you. My partner brought me something to drink because they're lovely. Thank you. That's super good. It's actually some OJ. It goes perfectly. Thank you for the suggestion. I wasn't sure how, you know, how much that was going to go together, but you know what? It's there, and I'm with it. Do y'all see this literally just coming apart? Like, it's so good. Support and care. But yeah, sometimes your support can do more harm than good. And, you know, the good old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? And, you know, I think that, while I'm not a practicing Christian, or a Christian in the slightest, I do find the validity in that statement. You know, I think especially when it comes down to societal structures and situations where you hold privilege or power in a specific identity or what have you, sometimes our privilege gets the best of us and we think, oh, I know the best way to handle this situation. And we really have to confront ourselves on our own, you know, inner savior complex and remind ourselves that whoever is at the other end of our, you know, privileged identity, they already speak for themselves and they're already more than capable of speaking for themselves. They need to be amplified. Their voices need to be amplified. And that is where the focus should be. As well as, of course, you know, calling out the things you can in the spaces that you're in where it's most of your privileged identity. But I feel like that's a given at this point. The food is super good. Yes. I wish I'm gonna start telling you what my meal is in advance. So if you want to make it and eat it with me at the same time, you can. Because I think that'd be pretty cool. But do what you please. I hope you all are eating. Have you eaten today? Are you eating right now? Are we sharing this moment in time and space? Let me know. But yeah, back to, when your support might not be the best, because I definitely want to take every opportunity I can to make it an introspective moment as well, because it's always going to be a twofold situation, or more, of course. But I really had to outgrow a tendency of people pleasing, and that was really really hard. And I definitely still think I battle some aspects of that, but it's nowhere near what it used to be, especially growing more in myself and in my beliefs and understanding who I am as a person and what I do deserve and learning my self-worth and all of that. I really steered more away from that, but it is something I still struggled with for a while. And I think in that there are a lot of opportunities for people to either throw themselves in situations, because they want that affirmation or because they want to feel like they belong somewhere, but it's not really for them. And I think even in, speaking personally, in those situations, I could understand that for myself, but I couldn't really follow through on my intuition in that moment. But I feel like even then I knew, this isn't really what's best for me. This isn't really how I feel about this situation, and I'm just kind of going along to go along. And so now I really try to work against that. And honestly, I think it's the happiest I've ever been in my life. And once again, another twofold situation. When you stop doing those kind of things, when you stop having those kinds of actions, you can actively support yourself. And I know, a lot of the thoughts and conversations around supporting yourself are largely very conservative. But I think being independent and being a part of a community, a part of a real supportive and caring community, are one and the same. I can't remember if it was a Twitter post or a Facebook post, I can't remember. I'm gonna get better about saving them so I can pull them up in the moment. But it was basically talking about how, oh wow, look at me, I lost my train of thought. Support, care, and just like that I lost it. That's okay though. I'm sure when I see that post again I'll remember and I'll be like, they needed to know. I'm sure it'll come back up. But generally speaking, I remember now, yes. You cannot have real independence until you have a community that you can go back to and depend on when you are low or when you don't feel like you're at your strongest, when you feel vulnerable. Everyone needs that. Everyone needs that basic support structure. And I think we all have encountered moments in life where we can say, I don't know if I would have been in the same position if I didn't have the support I did. Or we find ourselves imagining where we'd be if we had the support that we needed at a specific time. And I'm really working to think about what I can do to be more supportive through this, which is part of why, the live streams, because I really do want to connect with y'all more, in the moment, so we can really engage and talk about these things together. But I also want to think about, how I can utilize my own power and privileges, and how I can give back to my immediate community. I feel like we get so caught up in this idea of, oh, I need to be here before I can start doing something, or I need to have this, or, I need to reach this milestone. And I don't think, especially for our generation and younger, or even honestly the generation before mine, I'm a zillennial, that's how I identify. 96 babies, where you at? But I really think we are just so far removed from the time frames that the generations before us had. And I think we need to start to unlearn this idea that if we're not, at some imagined point, that, we're failures, or that we can't, be of support to someone else. Because even just giving, that listening ear, even just hearing someone out, even just, oh, that $10 for gas for somebody that you didn't really think much of, but it got them gas through that week, like those little things, they add up. And I think the more that we can start to imagine the different things that we can do, especially things that we've never exactly done before, but really want to do, I think that is where we can reclaim a lot of our power, especially as marginalized people, especially as marginalized communities, but generally on a massive scale and on just a very individual level. I think we have a lot of internal support to reclaim, to be able to pour it within ourselves, but also be able to give that back out. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think, though. Yeah, what are some experiences you had where you really had to question how you are giving support or how you're receiving support? Because, that is the other end of it as well. Sometimes people aren't ready to receive your support. And, this also goes back in with, sometimes your support is not the best for someone, but sometimes, you may have a generally good idea of something that, should go to support someone else, and they're either not ready to accept it because they're not ready to move on from a certain position or situation or, moment or experience or emotion in their life. And it's not necessarily to say that, your support wasn't good in that particular moment, but sometimes someone else is just not ready. And you can't force someone, obviously, to take your support, and you can't force them to be ready. Yeah, I super a minor example, but I do remember as a kid, my mom would try to help me with a certain project, and I would just completely reject it because I wanted to feel like I was doing everything on my own, and that kind of thing. And I sometimes still think about, how different that project would have been if I would have allowed myself to receive that support and that help. And I hope more and more that I can step outside of my pride to be able to accept the support that others want to give me, and, not block my blessings and things of that sort. Because I've definitely, even very recently, as recently as a few days ago, had a friend ask, what can I do to support you? And I was kind of at a loss. I was kind of stumped because I am really bad at asking for support. I'm really bad at asking for help. And I'm trying to remind myself that everyone has to ask for help. Everyone comes into the world needing help. And more likely than not, everyone will leave this world needing help. And there's no reason why you wouldn't need help in between that. Especially, we have so many sayings that say, oh, it takes a village. Oh, you have to lean on other people and know that experience in order to grow. You have to be vulnerable to grow. And in your experience of being vulnerable, it allows other people to be vulnerable with you. And I feel like that is just one of those cyclical examples of, you know, that one action leading off into so many other things that can change so much more than you're even aware of in your immediate moment. Because, oh, you know, it was just me listening, or, oh, it was just that $10 I sent. And I think we need to just take support and care more seriously for ourselves and for each other, so we can try to make it through these times a bit easier. Yeah. Eating a turkey burger and fries. I hope your turkey burger and fries is fire. Ooh, facts. Yeah, man. It's rough out here, but we can get through it together. I have to find a balance with giving and receiving support. Definitely focus on not overextending myself when it was not reciprocated. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I feel like once again, especially as marginalized peoples, especially as, you know, Black mages or marginalized genders, there's a lot of situations where we're expected to give support and not receive it back because, oh, well, you know, that's what they're made for, kind of thing, right? Which of course extends to, you know, marginalized genders of other POC as well. But in this space, I'm sure we're all aware of like the things that are expected of Black people, even by, you know, by non-Black POC. But yeah, and I think even within the Black marginalized gender community, that kind of idea can rear its head, right? Like, we're entitled to other people's space and time and care. But I think that also goes back to having that support and care for yourself, and knowing for yourself, like, hey, you know, I need time when I can't necessarily be there for other people, or I need my time to like restore and refresh and things of that nature. And understanding that for yourself and reminding yourself of that and setting those clear and proper boundaries helps to, you know, remind yourself that other people need that as well. Other people need that space. How many times have y'all encountered somebody who, you know, demands you like understand their situation and their experience, but they can never reciprocate that for you? You know, it's never a situation somebody wants to be in with another person, and I certainly know I wouldn't want to be that person for someone else. So, yeah. But in that also comes with understanding that not everybody is in a space where they're trying to look out for you or be there for you either. The whole, you know, skin folk and kinfolk, or just like generally, you know, whatever community you're a part of, just because somebody else is a part of that community doesn't necessarily mean that they have your support and care in mind. Or, you know, sometimes even theirs. Sometimes people are not in a space where they're able to care for and support someone else because they don't even know how to do it for themselves. And, you know, I feel like a lot of these things are definitely interwoven and interconnected, but it all literally goes right back into each other. If you know, can't support yourself and you can't care for yourself, the care and support that you give other people is also only going to go so far. And the support and care that other people give you can only go so far. Because if you can't properly communicate it, or like take the time to figure it out, they're not going to be able to, you know, give it to you unless they're very, you know, in tune people, or just like know you well. So not to say that it's impossible, but it is a lot harder. And as always, you know, if you want to support somebody and you're just not sure, talk to them, ask them, communicate with them. If you care enough to where you want to support them, you should care enough to listen. You should care enough to ask, you know, important questions and really implement the things that they're asking of you to do. Yeah. I feel like I've been talking more than I've been eating, so I'm gonna chow just a little bit. It is fine. I'm gonna take this time to read that chat. I'm trying to work on being aware when I'm low on spoons. Yes. I have a habit of agreeing to help and doing things for others when I don't even have enough mental capacity for myself. Yes. Yes, that is another super important aspect of that as well. Sometimes we throw ourselves into caring for other people because we're so busy trying to avoid our own situation. And, you know, obviously it's levels, obviously it's a journey, obviously people are at different points and stages in life, and are at different levels of understanding of certain things, but we also do have to take time, you know, in our care for others to make sure that we're caring for ourselves. And figuring out what that really means. I'm definitely still figuring out what that means. To really care for myself and really support myself in a way where I'm literally, you know, not holding myself back from, you know, all the things that I want to do. I spent, you know, so long telling myself, oh, well, you know, I don't know if you're blank enough, or I don't know if you could do that yet. But I wouldn't do that to my friend. So why am I doing that to myself? That's not the type of support and care I'd give a friend, so why am I doing that to myself? Yes, absolutely. So many, especially being the oldest daughter, because I feel like with the oldest son, they can kind of skirt away from the responsibility of like, oh, you have to help take care of the kids kind of thing most of the time. But I feel like especially when you are a daughter, it is very just fixated on, oh, you don't really get a choice in the matter. And then yeah, you kind of become like a third parent and like confidant between your parents, regarding how to deal with, you know, your siblings and things like that. And it's so, and even your parents' situation. And it's so weird. It's such an odd place to be put in, right? Because especially growing up still, you're like, well, I'm still just a kid, but I'm kind of being put in a really adult situation, and it's not fair to you, you know? And yeah, that's super key. I'm glad that you've been able to recognize and understand that you have to check in with yourself before you can, you know, just jump into being like, oh yeah, how can I, you know, be here for you? What can I do? Because at the end of the day, you know, it's not right for them to have expected you to fill that role. Thanks again for tuning in, y'all. I really appreciate it. Like I said, this is my first ever live stream. Yup, I'm glad it resonates. You know. I know you know. But yeah, I'm glad it resonates. I'm glad y'all could come here and, you know, talk about this and let it out and know that you are like not alone in your experience. And hopefully with these conversations we can try to change that narrative and try to change that atmosphere, you know, for the future. Y'all, I hope you're eating, because this is so good. I know it hates to see me eating this right now and not also be eating, but it's so good. What should I make next, y'all? Help me figure it out, because I'm at a loss. Well, not completely. I'm just being indecisive this week. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else I wanted to talk about regarding support and care. Probably more around like being there for others and supporting others. Actually, no. Demand support for yourself too. Demand care for yourself. because there are so many situations and instances where if you don't demand support and care, people will not give it to you. I think I'm thinking specifically about like workspaces right now, because I think about, well, I'm thinking again specifically about my own personal situation most recently, but there are just a lot of situations, especially in negotiation processes, where if you don't fend for yourself, you're gonna miss out. So, I know we aren't, particularly in this generation, excuse me, I know we aren't always taught how to do that. And I know because our worth and labor is constantly being undervalued that we start to internalize that. But I think as a collective people, we have to remember that our labor is always worth something, our being is always worth something, our ideas are always worth something. And we have to reclaim that worth with tax and a fee. Yeah. Hold on. Oh, no. Let me see. I like letting you in on my process. I do a little journal before I, plan to do a video to kind of gather my thoughts around what I want to talk about. So I'm checking my journal to make sure I don't miss anything, because I really hate that. I hate when I'm like, oh, I should have said that, or oh, I really wanted them to hear that. But if I ever do forget anything, I'll usually just put it in the comment section. So, come back and check the comment section after you're done. Oh yeah, I mean, going back to doing things with the best intentions, but then it like causing harm, always take accountability in that. Because once again, there are just so many situations where people just kind of say, oh, well, I didn't mean for it to go that way, or oh, well, I didn't intend for you to take it like that, or, just own it. Own your mistake. Own what you did. Own that, you messed up. Because once again, I feel like, at least in my experience, the other party's gonna appreciate that so much more than just, you fumbling to give basically an excuse. Yeah, we are never going to be perfect, but we can try to perfect how we go about doing things. Yeah. Yeah, and going back to the fact that some people might not want your support, that is okay. I probably already said that, but I do want to reiterate it. Sometimes they just don't want it. Sometimes they might already see, this might not be what's best for me, or they could just be in a spot where, like I said before, they're just not ready to accept that help or move from that position. It's okay. Sometimes people just aren't ready. Now, I will say, in those situations where if it's someone that you're really close to and you feel like it is a situation where they're just rejecting your support because maybe they're kind of in a wounded spot and they're not really ready to be vulnerable, I would just introduce the possibility of support to them, in a different way, or however they need it. You could say, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm acknowledging and understanding that you're not trying to engage with that, but I do want you to know that I want to leave space for you to feel supported and cared for. So whatever I can do to offer you that, I'd like to. And of course, stay true to your own boundaries in that as well, because sometimes we can't give people the support that they need. And that is also okay. Own when you don't have the range, so that you don't do more harm than good, because you try to throw yourself into a situation, if that makes sense. Yeah, and kind of going back to what Keanu said in the chat, you know, sometimes people do not reciprocate your support. Sometimes people aren't equipped to give support back in the way that you need, which is valid. But also sometimes people just completely don't reciprocate that and don't try to, and they take advantage of it. And once again, while we're out here trying to be helpful and like support people and be there for people, we also have to be a bit vigilant and keep in mind that very thing. Sometimes people are not out here trying to, you know, have mutual support be going on. Sometimes people just situate themselves around you because they see how much you support others and they want to bask in that, but they do not want to pour back into your cup. So always be mindful of that as well. Another lesson I had to learn the harder way, probably more than a few times, but I do want to stress that here and now. Everything can't always be, you know, positivity, sunshine, rainbows, because that's not realistic. That's not life. Yeah. I think that was the gist of what I wanted to say. I'm definitely not done eating though, so let me know what y'all thought about that though. Let me know if y'all are stewing on any other thoughts vis-a-vis support and care, and how you felt about what was said. Let me know if any of it, you know, resonated with you or had you feeling a type of way, made you think about any other situations that you have going on. Of course, only share what you feel comfortable sharing, you know. But I'd really love to hear how y'all felt. Also, thanks again so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Because once again, you did not have to be here. And you chose to be. So, I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing this moment with me. Not only because of the intimacy of sharing a meal, but because of the moment that it was for me. So, thank you. I really do. It means a lot. So what? Heard no lies. I'm glad I spoke the truth for you. I think I'm gonna take a couple more bites and then peace out. So thanks again, y'all. I super appreciate it. I hope you've been able to take something from this. I hope that this can help carry you into the weekend, thinking of ways that you can not only support others, but support yourself more too. Because you deserve support. You deserve all the support that you give other people. You matter. Your needs matter. Take time to think about them. Take time to think about how you can honor them, how you can honor your boundaries and your needs, as well as the needs of others, as well as communal needs. How can we be more present in the communities that we're in and actively support? This was so good. If you've never had mole, please have some mole. Have it soon. Let me know what you think. Yeah. Oh, before we go, I will mention the sub goal. I want to try to get to 100 subs. I don't remember what date I actually set the goal for. I think it's like the end of January to give it a little bit of time. But once we do hit 100, I'm probably gonna oh, I know what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do a hot pot live stream. So feel free to share with anybody that you think might be interested in this type of content. Anybody that enjoys talking about mental health, might need to, you know, take that time and space for introspection a bit more. Or anybody that just needs somewhere that's cool to chill out and, you know, have that calm type of vibe. Yeah. Thanks again for tuning in, y'all. Have a really great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Oh, don't